Essential salts. For a long time, I haven't wanted to make a video like this. My videos here are meant to be only about Nietzsche, what Nietzsche says, what I think Nietzsche means from my own perspective, and looking at those aspects of Nietzsche which are usually glossed over. But I think because of the raison d'etre of Tough Nietzscheans, in other words, Tough Nietzscheans was formed because my views on Nietzsche were continually banned and cancelled on social media, on Facebook, X, and so on. I felt I had to form my own Tough Nietzschean group because that aspect of Nietzsche, the Nietzsche that had been essentially downgraded, devalued, and almost censored since World War II by the rehabilitation, the Kaufman Brigade, that side of Western culture which sought to ameliorate Nietzsche, soften Nietzsche, the soft Nietzschean side, the denazification of Nietzsche. That attack on Elizabeth Nietzsche, the sister, this rather horrible lie campaign that had been going on for so long and had become really accepted wisdom throughout. I felt the need to stand up and stand against that in a more organised way, because until that point I'd just been getting cancelled and banned and blocked and cancelled and banned and blocked. So with the formation of Tough Nietzscheans, I still make a few forays out into the wilderness of the woke Nietzsche. And it's one thing I do like to keep an eye on. And I came across Essentialsalts, who is a very popular podcaster and YouTuber who concentrates on Nietzsche. At first, I knew very little about him, tried to watch his videos. I found them too long and very clickbaity, as they say in the parlance. I didn't really pay too much attention to him, to be honest. But on X, I did notice that a lot of the people on the right, which is where I associate myself, were very fond of him and seemed to think that he was the place to go to if you wanted to get your Nietzsche in the easy YouTube format where you don't have to think too much. So I started to take him with a dose of salt. And my suspicions become aroused in earlier this year when he made a video attacking Jordan Peterson. Now, I know that there are a few question marks against Jordan Peterson, but I think generally speaking, Jordan Peterson is an intellectual who is on the right, and we should really, those of us who are on the right, should really try and respect and protect those who are on the right and not castigate them in this kind of way. So I immediately thought, well, Essentialsalts can't be on the right, can he? Why would he be taking so much pains in attacking Peterson? And it was a usual lazy Peterson doesn't understand Nietzsche type of trope. And of course, Peterson doesn't set himself up as any kind of expert on Nietzsche. Peterson is a psychologist who has a kind of sideline interest in Nietzsche. He's hardly putting himself up there in the way that Essentialsalts is. So I was quite suspicious about this attack on Peterson, and I decided to go through the video. It was over an hour long, and Salts had already said on X that most people don't listen to more than a few minutes of his videos, and they dare to comment on them without listening to them all. So I decided that I would listen assiduously to the whole thing and comment along the way. Add comments. And I found that Essentialsalts arguments started to fall apart. And it was on this issue, which I've covered myself here, about whether one can create values. So it is a very pertinent debate. And I found that I got one reply from Salts, kind of very negative reply, indicating that I shouldn't have the audacity to dare to criticise him. And then all my other comments were summarily deleted. Luckily, I'd saved them all, and I put them on my Tough Nietzscheans Facebook group on a thread there, and they're all preserved there. That over, I just filed away, well, Essentialsalts is not what he seems, and when I see people on the right vaunt him as the Nietzsche interpreter to go to, I think, well, you're obviously mistaken, but then you're obviously not that well read on Nietzsche anyway. And then last weekend on Reddit, there's a group on there called Nietzsche, and a lot of Salt's videos appear on there. And there was another video by him trashing some other YouTuber who dares to interpret Nietzsche. And I weighed in on that, putting the other side, saying I've got some misgivings about Salts. And suddenly there was a huge pile-in on me. And when I referred to these pile-runners, these followers of Salts who really are fairly mindless, and called them the herd, I was banned for being impolite. I fought the ban, and things got very nasty. Salts himself is on there. He was attacking me. His acolytes were attacking me. But what emerged through these really quite interesting fights or debates before I was ultimately banned, completely banned, was firm evidence that Essentialsalts is woke, or politically correct as we used to call it, or liberal as he would have been called in Nietzsche's day. And he is working steadfastly to maintain the woke Nietzsche, the soft Nietzsche, the rehabilitated Nietzsche of the mainstream. And he's doing it under this sort of guise that he's a bit on the edge and he's got the far right following him. He's not anywhere on the right. And that's why he attacks Peterson. And so I had all that firmly confirmed in this spat on Reddit. So it was incredibly worth it. And also, it's noteworthy that Reddit's Nietzsche is a kind of monopoly on Reddit. There are no other Nietzsche sites on Reddit. And that is what Salts and his acolytes are trying to do, just as what Kaufman and Hollingdale tried to do, is to monopolize Nietzsche for the woke, politically correct, liberal viewpoint. So I would say maybe avoid Salts or take him with more than a pinch of salt, for he wants to salt Nietzsche's truths.